Our final storyteller of the night is our only veteran for the evening, and we are so glad she is back with us this evening. She is Amy Bivens. She was raised in Tucson on arcade games, Suntran buses, and yes, water from the hose. Even though she is no fucks left years old, she still hopes you like her story. Please welcome Amy.
Hi. My friend Felicia. Oh, sorry. How's that? Is that good? Okay. I'm going to get right up in this. My friend Felicia called me once in the mid-90s to ask if she could give my number to a photographer friend of hers. His name was Adam, and he wanted a model to shoot some artsy nudes for his portfolio because he was applying to a graduate program. I was 3 years in on my 12-year bachelor's quest. Yeah. And wanting to live by the do what scares you philosophy, as long as it didn't involve drugs. Because even now I'm like, what happens if I just lick the gummy? I'm a chicken. So, no to getting high, yes to getting naked. I told Felicia to give Adam my number. He called, I said, I'll do it. We picked a date, and he gave me his address. He let me know it would be just me and him, and that he was planning to wrap my body in sheer materials for the photos. Yes, I would be naked, but they wouldn't exactly be nudes. So imagine taking a damp paper towel and just draping it artfully over a dildo. So you can't see it, right? But 100% you know what you're looking at. So on the appointed day, in the studio he had put up in his grandmother's empty dining room, I would be the dildo. And the wet paper towel would be raw pizza dough. Okay. The day arrives and I meet Adam at his house. We get into his car and head to Blackjack Pizza where he used to work to get fresh dough before heading on to Grandma's house. She would be out for the afternoon. It occurred to me as I was writing this that it would have been so much easier for me to just meet him at Grandma's. He could have gone and got the dough by himself. I wonder now if maybe he wanted his former coworkers to know what we were up to that day. Like, see this girl? I'm gonna wrap her naked body in this here dough and take pictures of it. Enjoy the dinner rush, bitches. Maybe that's not what he was thinking. I'll never know. Something else I didn't know back then was whether this was entirely an artistic pursuit for Adam or if maybe he had designs on me too. We had met before and had friends in common, in addition to Felicia, and I never picked up any particular vibe from him. He seemed more geeky than anything else. I had wondered if he was gay, but only because he didn't appear to put any effort at all into not being perceived as gay. I felt like I had no reason to fear him at all, but it might be smart to prepare mentally in case he did come on to me while I was naked. Would I like it if he did? Would I be disappointed if he didn't? These thoughts ran through my head while I rode in his car, a bag of cold raw dough sitting in my lap. I ran some pros and cons. A certain geekiness in a guy, especially for the arts, is a definite pro. The fact that Adam was giving me a do what scares you experience and had promised me Prince of the Shoot after, another pro. He wasn't bad to look at. Imagine a very young Bill Maher, but okay, stay with me. Like, remove the problematic male energy and also the hair, and give him like flowy brown hair that was not receding, and also take away the mean little eyes and replace them with bigger brown eyes. So not exactly a hot pro, but not a hard con either. The con, honestly, was that I just knew I didn't want to fuck this guy. It's simple, right? I don't want to is the only con you need, regardless of what your pros list looks like. Ever. Thank you. Unfortunately, nobody taught me that explicitly growing up. I had to learn it the hard way over a long time, and I was definitely not clear on it that day with Adam. So I really had no idea what I was going to do if he tried anything. So we get to Grandma's house. Adam took the dough and led me in through the kitchen. I followed him into the dining room / studio thinking, what the hell am I doing? There was a dining table with a camera on it and a couple of different lenses and film because this was the 90s. In the corner was one empty dining chair. I also remember something that looked like a rectangular silver umbrella on a tripod and a large bolt of gauze like you would see at the fabric store. I don't remember the floor, which is weird because soon enough I was lying there on my back like a dead bug, hands and knees in the air, being draped in cold raw dough. But first, there was the matter of taking off all my clothes in a room with a man that I was probably, definitely, most likely, I'm pretty sure, not gonna have sex with. Adam clearly felt pretty awkward himself when he asked me to get undressed. I don't remember his exact words, but there was an air of apology about it and a resigned gesture, like to say, it's come to this. He turned around and started moving things around on the table. So I just started with my shoes and pretended I was at my gynecologist's office. I folded my clothes and I put them on the empty chair and I tucked my underwear in the middle. The similarity to a doctor's office ended there, though, because I didn't have to sit and wait for Adam to come back into the room. He was just standing there the whole time. And there was no big paper napkin for me to try to put on and call a gown. It was just me in my all together, taking a deep breath and saying to him, okay. Adam turned back around, gave me a once-over. I could see on his face that the stark reality of a naked woman had an effect. And I thought, not gay then. He collected himself quickly, looked me in the eye and said, you're beautiful. It was reassuring, appreciative, but not expectant. The tone of his voice would have been the same if he'd said, everything's okay. I think now that the words were for me and the tone was for him, whether he knew it or not, we were both shaking a little. But we were there for a purpose, and it was time to get down to business. So we began. The dough needed more time still to warm up to pliability. So first, Adam wrapped me in the gauze. He had me stand feet together with my head tilted back and reach as high as I could toward the ceiling. So I'm like, I tried really hard, you guys. I was like, just tits in the wind, okay? Just like, ugh. and he brings over a step stool and wraps me in the gauze all the way up to my hands from the floor. After taking some shots, he helped me slide my arms down inside the gauze and then eased me slowly down to the floor like a life-size bendable mummy. He made some adjustments to the gauze and the position of my body before taking more photos. Then it was off with the gauze and on with the dough finally, and that shit was still so cold on my skin. He took me through a few different poses, including the one on my back, dead bug style. The whole process was extremely hands-on for Adam. For me, it was an absolute riot of sensation. I'll never forget the chill and surprising weight of the dough after the cottony softness of the gauze. And being touched the way that Adam touched me is still a singular experience in my life. He wrapped, unwrapped, and arranged me with careful efficiency. I felt exposed and vulnerable the whole time, but his demeanor and gentleness dimmed the fear and allowed me to be present in the sensations and to enjoy the tactile experience through my skin. When it was done, Adam knelt beside me on the floor and told me to stretch out and relax for a minute. I did a corpse pose. Y'all know. Still covered in dough that by then was a kind of cool weighted blanket. And I felt a delicious release in my muscles, accompanied by the sounds of him tinkering at the table. He came back and peeled off the dough, then offered me a hand to help me up. While I put my clothes back on, he didn't look away. We went into the kitchen in search of celebratory alcohol. It took some rummaging, but Adam finally held up a bottle and said, "It's Manischewitz time." I did not know what that meant. But he looked really pleased with himself, so I just smiled. Then he brought these cups down from the cabinet like nothing I'd ever seen before. They were ornate and heavy looking, like pewter chalices, but they were this big. I felt like Alice in Wonderland when her limbs go through the house. As he poured the wine, I was already giggling from the baby chalices and the thrill of doing the thing. We clinked a Mazel Tov and drank, and it was absolutely awful. Then we were both laughing, and Adam took the moment to shoot his shot. He said we could get something nicer on the way back to his house, and I could come in and stay a while. His expression was mischievous and earnest, lusty and hopeful. It was not predatory or smug or decided. I said thanks, but I was going to head home. So he drove me back to his place where my car was waiting. He asked if I wouldn't change my mind again about staying. When I said no again, it wasn't just because the answer was no. It was because Adam made it feel safe to say no. He said, "Okay." He said, "Thank you for what we did today." I wish now that I had been able to thank him and tell him what the day was really like for me. The pure sensuality of it, freed from sexual obligation, was extraordinary. I saw him one more time when he gave me the prints, and then never again. I have no idea where he is now, but I really hope those pictures helped in a small way to get him where he was trying to go, because I got so much more than I expected by stripping for them.